Deblur this image. Not bad, not bad. Remove her earrings. Pretty impressive. Alright, let's try this. What can be eaten? Replace it with pasta. I'm starting to get a bit mind blown here. Let's try this. Using her pose, make a boy studying in the classroom. No way. How about this? Take the man on the right of this photo and the man on the left of this photo and have them eat dinner together. Oh my god, this is insane! So this might be the most intuitive and powerful AI generator you've seen so far. It's called Omnigen, and I think this could very well define the future of image editing. If you want to edit an image, you don't need to adjust the brightness or contrast or saturation sliders anymore. You don't need to do any white balance or color correction. You don't need to paint over an image or mask things out or do any other manual stuff. All you need to do is prompt it on what you want to edit, and it would edit it for you. And best of all, this is free and open source. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to install this and run it locally on your computer. You can run this offline for free for unlimited times. Plus, I'm going to test it out on a series of tricky tasks to show you all the cool things that it can do. So let's jump right in. First of all, let me just show you a few cool examples from their research paper. It can do so many things. For example, if you upload one photo and you ask it, where can I wash my hands? Please help me find the right place. It will actually highlight the sink for you. Plus, it's so easy to create deepfakes or face swaps with this tool. You no longer need any third-party or external plugins. So for example, let's say you want to get Wukong and Iron Man in a kitchen together. Well, you can say, in a cozy kitchen, Man 1, which is Wukong, is chopping vegetables, while Man 2, which is Iron Man, is sitting nearby. And this is what you get. You can also just upload a blurry image and then type in deblur the image, and this is what you get. The same works for brightness, so you can also upload a really dark image and then brighten the image, and this is what you get. It understands context really well. So let's say the prompt is woman 1, which is Queen Elizabeth here, is holding a cat and sitting on a bench in a park. Woman 1 is the person smiling in image 1, which is here, and then the cat is the one in image 2, which is here. So you can just upload an entire image which isn't just the cat, and it knows how to identify the cat in this image, and then generate an image of Queen Elizabeth with this cat sitting on a bench in a park. Here, if you ask it to remove the butter on the cake, that's exactly what it does. It removes the butter on the cake. Here's another really impressive example. So here's the input image, and then if you prompt it with delete the rain in this image, that's actually what it does. It actually gets rid of the rain droplets on this window pretty well. And it can carry out multiple editing tasks in the same prompt. So for example, if this is the original input image and you prompt it with add sunglasses to the man's face and change the color of the clothes to blue, that's exactly what it does. It not only adds the sunglasses, but it also swaps his shirt to blue. Super powerful tool. Now, enough showcasing their demos, let's actually try this out. So I'm going to link to their GitHub page in the description below. On this page, there is a link to a Hugging Face demo. So if you don't have a powerful enough GPU, you can try to use this space online to generate images. Now, you may or may not be able to run this on the free daily credits. You probably need to top up more credits to use more compute. But what we're going to do today is actually install this on my computer so we can run it for free for unlimited times. Now, they don't specify the VRAM or hardware requirements explicitly on their GitHub page, but it seems to only work with CUDA GPUs right now, and some people have reported to successfully run this with as low as 12 gigabytes of VRAM. By the way, I'm using a Dell Precision 5690. You can integrate a powerful RTX 5000 Ada into this. So this is a perfect compact combo for running AI tools locally. Huge thanks to Dell and Nvidia for sponsoring this. Anyways, on this GitHub page, if you scroll to the middle, it will contain the instructions on how to install it. So you can install this wherever you want. I'm going to install it on my desktop. So I'm going to open up my desktop folder, and then in this top bar up here, I'm going to type in CMD, which will open up my command prompt, but in the desktop folder. and then opening this back up, the next step is to git clone this repository. Now note that you do need to have git installed before you can git clone anything. So if you don't have git, here's how to install it. If you already have git installed, feel free to skip to the next section. So all we got to do is download the latest release for whatever operating system you're using. So I'm using Windows, so I'm just going to click on download for Windows. I'm running 64-bit, so I'm going to click on this to download, and it's now downloading this exe file. So once that's completed, all we got to do is open that exe file and then follow the steps. So I'm going to click on next. I'm just going to go with the default install location, which is program files/git. So I'll click next for that. And then I'm just going to leave this at the default. And then I'm going to click next again and click next here. We're just going to use the default settings for all of these. There's a lot of settings that you need to go through, so I'm just going to click next for all of these. All right, and then it should go ahead and install all the files, so this might take a few minutes. Perfect, so now we have Git installed. Anyways, assuming you have Git installed, let's copy this first line and then paste it in our command prompt. So this will clone the Omnigen repository into our desktop folder. All right, perfect. So after it has cloned the repository, if you open up your desktop, you should see a new folder here called Omnigen. And if you open this up, it will contain all the files that are in the repository. So these are the same folders and the same files, as you can see here. All right, so the next step is to go into this folder. So let's paste this line in our command prompt. And this basically means change directory to Omnigen, because before we were still in the desktop folder. Right now we are going one folder into the Omnigen folder. And then the next step is to pip install everything. You could run this right away. However, what I prefer to do when installing each of these open source tools is to create a virtual environment first. So this step is optional, but it keeps things from breaking. So what a virtual environment is, think of it as like a separate hard drive on your system, and you're going to download all the packages and dependencies of this tool in that hard drive. And this is separate from everything else you have on your computer. And the benefit of this is if this requires some dependency or requirement that conflicts with an existing tool, you can download everything separately for this, and it won't affect anything else you have on your computer. Now, in order to create a virtual environment, we're going to use Conda. If you don't have Conda installed, here's how you install it. If you have it already, feel free to skip to the next section. Now, I'm just on anaconda.com, and actually what I'm going to do is install Miniconda. This is a minimalist version of Anaconda. If you install the full Anaconda, it installs a lot of packages and dependencies that you might not need. This just takes up more room on your computer, and of course the installation time is a bit longer. But with Miniconda, it's just a bare bones package, and you can always install additional packages and dependencies afterwards. So I'm going to click on latest Miniconda installer links by Python version, and I'm using Windows, so I'm going to install one of these. Now, for free and open source AI tools, usually they do not support Python 3.12, so it's better to install the Python 3.11 version. So I'm going to click on this, which should download an exe file to your computer. Once it's finished downloading, simply double click on this and then follow the steps to complete the installation. So I'm going to click next and then agree, and then let's set this to all users. I'm going to go with the default destination folder, and then I'm going to check this as well, clear the package cache upon completion. This just gives you back some more disk space without affecting functionality. All right, once that's completed, let's click next, and then we are finished. Now, we aren't done yet, so if you open up the command prompt and you type in conda -- version, you're still going to see that Conda is not recognized. This is because we haven't added Anaconda to our path yet. So let's exit out of this, and then to add it to our path, we simply search for this function, edit the system environment variables. We're going to click on this, and then click on environment variables, and then click on the one that says path, and then click edit. And here's where you add in the path of Anaconda. So it depends where you installed Anaconda. For me, I installed it in program data. So it's going to be in program data / Miniconda. And then if I double click on scripts, you can see that Conda is here. So this is the folder we want to paste in. So I'm going to right click on this and then copy as path. And then back in the environment variables window, I'm going to click new and then paste in the path here and then click OK and then OK and then OK again. Now, if you open up command prompt again and type in conda -- version, you should see that we are running 24.5.0. So this shows that we have successfully installed Anaconda. Alright, so assuming you do have Conda installed, back to our command prompt where we are in this Omnigen folder, let's type in conda create -n and then Omnigen, which is what we will name our new environment. So what this means is we are using Conda to create a new environment called Omnigen. So let's press enter and then let's press enter. Alright, so it has been created now. The next step is we actually need to activate the environment before we can use it. So let's type in conda activate and whatever we named our environment. In our case, it's Omnigen. And you can see that your environment has been activated if you see Omnigen in parentheses before every line. Alright, so going back here, the next step is to copy and paste this final line. So let me paste this in here and let's see how long this takes. Alright, so you can see it's loading up all the dependencies that it needs to download and then it's downloading all the files. So for example, accelerate, diffusers, torch. So depending on your internet connection, this might take a few minutes. Alright, and if all goes well, you should see this line again with no errors above. So next step is we could create images using all these lines of code, but it's not really intuitive. So instead, let's open up a Gradio interface, which looks like this, and it's just easier to navigate and adjust things. So in order to do that, we first need to pip install Gradio and spaces. Let me copy this line and paste it in here. So again, this is going to download another set of requirements, which might take a few minutes. All right, perfect. And again, if all goes well, you should see this line again without any error messages. So the only thing left to do is to run this app.py file. So let's copy this line and then paste it in here and press enter. Alright, and the first time you load this up, it's going to install additional things such as this model safe tensors file, which is basically the model that is required to generate the images. And note that this is 15 gigabytes, so it's going to take a while for this to download. And one thing I forgot to mention is you might be wondering, well, how do I start this from scratch the next day? So all you have to do is go to your Omnigen folder, and then in the top here, type in cmd to open up your command prompt in this Omnigen folder, and then type in conda activate Omnigen or whatever you named your virtual environment, and then you should see this Omnigen in parentheses at the start of every line. And then after that, all you have to do is type in python app.py to load up the Gradio interface. So we've already installed the model.safetensors file the first time we loaded this, so this should only take like a minute to load up. Alright, so if everything loads up successfully, then you should see this link here. So if you hold down Control and click into it, it's going to open up a Gradio interface in your browser. So note that even though this is on your internet browser, this is completely offline. You can run this without internet for unlimited times. So let's try this out right now. It's pretty intuitive to use. I'm going to show you all the settings right now. So for the prompts, let's enter in a young woman sitting in a cafe. She is wearing golden earrings and a white sweater. In front of her is a table with a slice of cake. And let's just leave all these images blank for now. I'll show you what these do in a second. And then for the height and width, let's also leave it at 1024 by 1024. Guidance scale is how much you want the image to follow your prompt. So right now the default is 2.5. If you drag this all the way to the right, then it's going to interpret this really literally. Whereas if you drag this all the way to the left, it's not really going to follow this as much and it might give you some random results, but this gives it room to be more creative. Anyways, I'm going to set this back at the default of 2.5, and then image guidance scale is how much you want these uploaded images to affect your result. So if you drag this all the way to the left, then these images would have more influence. If you drag this to 0, then it's not going to have as much influence. I'm going to leave this back at, I believe it was 0.5. And then inference steps, this is just how many steps it takes to generate the image. So in general, the more steps you have, the higher quality and the more detailed the image will be. But at a certain point, if you have too many steps, then you just get diminishing returns and it's just not worth it. So anyways, let's just keep it at the default for 50 for now. And then for this checkbox, check it if you want to reduce the memory cost. Same with this one, if you don't have a really good GPU with enough VRAM, you can also offload some of the processing to your CPU. So check this if you also want to reduce memory usage. Now, of course, if you offload some processing to your CPU, this is going to take way longer. I'm going to leave this one off. And then finally, this setting is pretty self-explanatory. So this is if you want your output image to be the same dimensions as your input image, which I will leave off for now. And then let's click generate and see what that gives us. By the way, I'm using an RTX 5000 Ada on a laptop, which only has 16 gigabytes of VRAM. So this is less powerful than a 4090, for example, which has 24 gigabytes of VRAM. And you can see the processing time down here, so it does take quite long to generate one 1024 by 1024 image. Alright, perfect. So this is what we get, and if you open up our command prompt, you can see that this one image took around 1 minute and 47 seconds. So pretty slow compared to Stable Diffusion or even Flux, but we do see a young woman sitting in a cafe. She is wearing golden earrings and a white sweater, and in front of her is a table with a slice of cake. Let me tell you about this awesome tool called Chat LLM by our sponsor Abacus AI. This allows you to use the best AI models out there all in one integrated platform. This includes the latest O1 Preview, O1 Mini, as well as other state-of-the-art models like GPT-4o and Claude Sonnet 3.5. Plus, they have a new Route LLM feature, which automatically picks the best LLM to use based on your prompt. They also have a search LLM feature, which searches the web to find the latest and most accurate information for you. You can also generate images right from the chatbot, and they're using the best generator out there, Flux Pro. Plus, you can even generate videos with a single prompt. How cool is that? Plus, it has a really cool artifacts feature, so if you're coding or building something with it, it allows you to view and interact with the app side by side. You can also drag and drop PDFs and documents into here for it to analyze. This is great for generating reports and analyzing data easily. You can also create custom agents to automate specific tasks. This is just a really powerful and versatile way for you to use the best AI models out there all in one platform. Try it out via the link in the description below. Now, to download this, simply click on this button to download it to your computer. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to drag the downloaded image onto here to use as an image reference. Here's the cool part about Omnigen. Let's say I want to remove the earrings. Well, all I have to do is reference this image by typing in this over here. So it's an image tag followed by image_1 and then a closing image tag. So I'm going to just paste this in, and then just to keep it more organized, I'm going to press Shift Enter and write remove the woman's earrings. Now, you don't have to start a new line. This is just to keep everything more organized, but that's how you would edit an existing image. And then there's one more toggle we can play with, which is down here, this use input image size as output. So let's say you're uploading an image and you just want to edit the image, so you want to keep the same dimensions as your uploaded image, then you can just check this and it would basically ignore the height and width you set here and just use the height and width of your input image. So alright, everything looks good. Let's click generate. Alright, perfect. And as you can see, this is indeed the woman, but now she has no earrings. So you can see why I think this is such a powerful tool. You no longer need to manually select any objects in the image or inpaint anything. All you need to do is prompt it what you want to edit, and it will automatically identify the object in the photo and edit it. Alright, let's try another example. Instead of just replacing objects in an image, you can actually prompt it to highlight something in the image. So, for example, let's try this. What can be eaten in this image? Highlight it in blue. And in theory, it should highlight this cake in blue. So I'm going to keep all of these settings the same. In fact, let me even reduce the number of steps to 40, just so this image can load faster. There's going to be some sacrifice in quality, but I think it's minimal. And then let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright, and this is what we get. And indeed, it highlights the cake in blue. Very impressive. Now, instead of just highlighting the object, we can also ask it a question and then replace whatever object it identifies. So for example, if you ask it what can be eaten in this image, and then let's type in replace it with pasta, what it's going to do is for your input image, identify what object can be eaten in the image and then replace it with pasta. So let's keep all the settings the same and click generate image and see what that gives us. Alright, and this is what we get, and you can see it indeed identifies the food in the image and replaces it with pasta. How cool is that? Now, on the note of replacing things, you could also use this as a clothes swapper. So, using the same image, if we type in replace the white sweater with a red bikini, and then we'll keep all the settings the same and click generate, let's see what that gives us. Alright, so here's what we got. You can see it's not perfect, especially her left arm there, and even the bikini is not perfect, but this is a very tricky image to do a clothes swap. First of all, because for this input image, she's wearing a very thick sweater, so it's really hard to guess her body shape, and also there's a table and a piece of cake in the foreground, which is obstructing some of her body, so it's quite a tricky task in this example for it to make her wear a red bikini. However, if you just have a photo of a woman standing with no obstructions in the foreground, it should be easier to swap her clothes for that image. Anyways, instead of just swapping clothes, here's another cool thing you can do. So you can also get it to generate a depth map of this image. So I'm going to scroll down, keep all the settings the same, and then click generate. And voila, here we have a depth map of this image. How cool is that? So you no longer need like a ControlNet preprocessor or whatever to generate pose maps or depth maps. You can just upload an image and prompt this AI to generate whatever map you want based on an image. How cool is that? Alright, here's an even crazier example. So again, I'm going to take the same photo, but this time for the prompt, what I'm going to say is, using the same pose as this image, generate a new photo. A boy studying in the classroom. And again, I'm going to keep all the settings the same and click generate and see what that gives us. And here's what we get. How cool is that? So you can see it preserves the same pose as this original image, but it turns it into a boy studying in a classroom. A super powerful tool. In order to do this, again, you need ControlNet. You need to extract the pose of this image and then apply it to this new image, which requires multiple steps, and it's just a hassle to do so many things. But with this, you just upload an image and then prompt it to copy the pose, and that's pretty much all you need to do. Here's something even more impressive. You can use this as a face swapper. So what I'm going to do is upload this image of Bill Gates and another dude. And then for image 2, I'm going to upload this image of Will Smith and his wife. Now, the reason why I'm uploading 2 people in an image is because you don't need to crop out each individual face and then upload it. So here's what you can do. Let's say I want to generate an image of Bill Gates and Will Smith eating dinner. Well, the prompt can be 2 men are having dinner. The first man is the man on the right of image 1. So this is the man on the right of image 1. And then the second man is the man on the left of image 2. So this is the man on the left of image 2. So you can see I don't even need to like crop out his face or his face. I can just upload the entire photo and then specify in this prompt, alright, only use the face of the man on the right here and the man on the left here and make both of them eating dinner together. Now in this example, because I don't want the output image to match the dimensions of these 2 images, I'm going to uncheck this option And then up here is where I can set the height and width of the output image. And in this case, just to make it load slightly faster, I'm just going to set it to 768 by 768. And then let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright, and this is what we get. You can see it is indeed taking Bill Gates and Will Smith and getting them to have dinner together, and it even copies the outfit that they are wearing. So you can see Bill Gates is wearing this black sweater with a blue and white collar, and that's what you see here. Same with Will Smith. You can see he's wearing this white shirt with a red jacket. Now notice that there are some flaws here. This part is obviously not correct, but other than that, I mean, this is pretty good and it's so intuitive. You no longer need to download any face swapper plugin like Poolid or Instant ID. You just need to upload 2 images and then prompt it with whatever you want to generate, and Omnigen can understand everything and generate it for you. Super powerful tool. Alright, finally let me get rid of these 2, and I also want to test out different styles of images, so let's test this one out. Girl in a black dress at home, anime style. So let's see if this generator can generate anime style images. I'm going to keep all the settings the same and click generate. Alright, and here's what we get. So this is kind of anime style. It's not great though. Definitely Stable Diffusion and Flux do a lot better than this in terms of anime. Alright, finally let's also see if it can do Disney Pixar style. So I'm going to type in Disney Pixar style. Let's see if it can figure this out. So again, I'm going to leave all the settings the same and click generate. And here's what I got for Disney Pixar style. This looks more like a realistic photo to me. So let's give it one more shot. I'm going to type in like 3D animation style and let's see if it can pull it off. But I have a suspicion that this could currently only do well with realistic images. Okay, so this is a bit better. So instead of just inputting Disney Pixar style, if you input 3D animation style, then this actually works. Alright, so let's save this image, and then I'm going to drag it here. And then same as before, I'm going to paste in image_1 wrapped in image tags. And then for organization, I'm just going to start a new line. And then I'm going to write replace the woman's black dress with a red dress. And then let's scroll all the way to the bottom. This time, because I'm using an image as a reference, yes, I want to use the input image size as the output, and then I'll leave all the other settings the same and click generate. Alright, and this is what we get, and it indeed replaces the black dress with a red dress. Now, as you can see, it's not perfect. You can see a slight outline here where the black dress used to be, plus the hands and fingers are not accurate, but it is a really easy and intuitive way for you to edit anything in an image. So it seems like it doesn't work too well for 3D animation style images. In terms of like replacing objects or clothes in an image, it works the best with realistic images. Alright, let's try something else. So I'm going to drag and drop this blurry photo of a woman. This is a photo which is quite blurry, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in the image1 tag in order to reference this image, and then I'm going to write deblur this image. Now I'm going to keep all the settings the same, but we are going to use this checkbox down here, use input image size as output, because I want my generation to be the same size as my uploaded image. And that's pretty much it. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright, and this is what we get. So you can see that it does deblur it to some extent, but this is not good quality. And actually I have a suspicion on why that is, because the uploaded image is very blurry. So if it's just referencing that image, then it's going to still include a lot of blur from that image. So I think what we actually need to do is drag this image guidance scale slider all the way to the left. And what this basically does is it reduces the influence of my uploaded image. So it's going to reduce the influence of the blur of the image, and hopefully that gives it more room to actually sharpen the image. So I'm going to leave all the settings the same and click generate. Perfect, and this is what we get. So it's slightly better than the generation we had before. And for your comparison, here's the before and after. So you can see it has indeed deblurred this image. Alright, next I'm going to upload this really dark image of an owl. And then instead of deblur this image, I'm going to write brighten this image. So I'm going to leave all the settings the same and click generate. And there you go, it brightened the image. How cool is that? This is such a powerful tool. I mean, traditionally in Photoshop or wherever, you need to manually adjust the brightness and contrast sliders. Maybe you need to adjust the levels and the exposure. There's just so much manual work involved, whereas for this, you just prompt it with brighten the image and it automatically brightens it to the best amount for you. And note that for this really dark image, there's already a lot of data that has been lost. It's really hard to restore or even guess the colors of such a dark image sometimes. So you probably can't just use Photoshop or a regular image editor and then just bump up the brightness slider to get this result. But because Omnigen is using some AI algorithm in the backend, it's able to use AI to actually guess or extrapolate what the colors should be and then increase the brightness appropriately. So this is a super powerful tool. So anyways, that sums up my tutorial on Omnigen. Let me know in the comments what you think of this. Again, I don't think the quality of the images are as good as Flux or Stable Diffusion in some cases, but this is not intended to be an image generator. This is more of an image editor, and this is super intuitive. Instead of going to Comfy UI and dragging all these nodes and noodles around just so you could edit a specific object in an image or copy the pose of a character onto another image, with Omnigen, all you have to do is upload an image and then prompt it with whatever you want to edit. So everything is a lot more intuitive and a lot easier to use. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you think of this, and if you run into any errors while installing or running this, let me know in the comments as well, and I'll try to help you troubleshoot as much as possible. As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week. I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel. So to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.